What I'm about to tell you will challenge everything you've been taught about prayer, about Jesus, and about the nature of reality itself. My name is Rebecca Thorne. I'm a 42-year-old paramedic in Asheville, North Carolina. 2 years ago, I buried my 12-year-old son after praying every single day for his healing. I stopped believing God listened to anyone, especially me. Then, on September 23, 2024, I found a wounded being from another world in the woods. What this being taught me about Jesus and healing seemed impossible. I wanted to believe, but doubt consumed me. Until Jesus himself appeared in my bedroom and confirmed every single word. Before this story ends, you'll understand why your prayers haven't worked the way you hoped. You'll discover abilities the church never told you existed. And you'll learn what both an extraterrestrial and Jesus himself want you to know about your own divine power. If you're ready to hear truth that will shatter everything you thought you knew, subscribe to Stories of Light and activate the bell. Now let me tell you how it all began. September 23rd, 2024, 2:30 in the morning. I was driving home from a brutal 12-hour shift at Mission Hospital. Another cardiac arrest, another young father who didn't make it, another family I had to face with those words nobody wants to hear. We did everything we could. 23 years as a paramedic, and I still haven't found the right way to tell someone their world just ended. The mountain road from Asheville toward my cabin in Pisgah National Forest was empty at that hour. Just me, the darkness, and thoughts I'd been trying to outrun for 2 years. Thoughts about Lucas, about his last days, about all those prayers that echoed into nothing. I was so lost in memory that I almost didn't see it. A light in the sky. Not a plane. I'd seen thousands of planes. Not a helicopter. This was silent, erratic, moving in ways that defied physics. Bright blue-white, pulsing like a heartbeat. Then it dropped. Fast. Too fast. Disappearing beyond the tree line about half a mile off the road. My paramedic training kicked in before rational thought could stop me. If something crashed, someone might be hurt. I pulled over, grabbed my medical bag from the trunk, I never drove without it, and headed into the woods. The October night was cold, my breath fogged in the beam of my flashlight as I navigated between pine trees and over fallen logs. I should have been terrified. Instead, I felt nothing. 2 years of grief had hollowed me out so completely that even fear seemed like too much effort. I found it in a small clearing. The object was maybe 15 feet across, metallic but not like any metal I'd seen. It seemed to absorb my flashlight beam rather than reflect it, giving off a faint silvery glow of its own. Smooth, seamless, like it had been grown rather than built. One side was crumpled inward, smoking slightly. And beside it, crumpled on the ground, was something that made my breath catch. A figure. Small, maybe 4 feet tall, impossibly thin limbs, skin that looked gray-silver in my flashlight, almost luminescent. The head was disproportionately large, and even from 10 feet away, I could see the eyes. Huge. Black. Reflecting my light like a cat's eyes, but with something behind them. Intelligence. Pain. Awareness. Every rational part of my brain screamed at me to run. But I'd seen that look before, in emergency rooms, in ambulances, in the eyes of people who knew they were dying. It's a look that transcends species, apparently. This being was terrified and in pain. I approached slowly, hands visible. "I'm a paramedic," I said, feeling absurd talking to something that might not even understand English. "I'm here to help." The being's chest was rising and falling rapidly. Too rapidly. One arm, if you could call it that, was bent at an impossible angle. Dark liquid that might have been blood pooled beneath it. I knelt beside it, setting down my medical bag. Up close, I could see the skin wasn't exactly skin. It had a texture almost like very fine scales, but soft. The eyes, God, those eyes. tracked my movements with laser focus. Then I heard it. Not heard with my ears, heard in my mind. Please, help me. The voice was clear, gentle, distinctly masculine in tone, though the being had no visible gender characteristics. It resonated inside my skull in a way that should have been terrifying, but somehow wasn't. I'm going to check your injuries, I said, forcing my voice to stay steady. Try not to move. You are not afraid. I'm terrified, I admitted, but you're hurt. I'm a paramedic. This is what I do. I did a rapid assessment. The arm was definitely broken. There was trauma to the chest, possibly broken ribs in whatever passed for this being's skeletal structure. The dark liquid was definitely blood or something similar, but the wound was already starting to seal itself. Fascinating. Some kind of accelerated healing? I can't treat you here, I said. Can you move? Can you walk? I can try. I helped the being to its feet, if they could be called feet. The being was surprisingly light, maybe 70 pounds. We made slow progress through the woods, the being leaning heavily on me. With each step, I felt that voice in my mind, not speaking, just present, aware, grateful. My cabin was small, isolated, exactly what I'd wanted after the divorce, after Lucas, a place where I didn't have to pretend to be okay for anyone else's benefit. I got the being inside, onto my couch. In the lamplight, I could see more details. The skin had an ethereal quality, almost translucent. The eyes, God, those eyes, held depths I couldn't begin to fathom. Okay, I said, falling back on medical protocol because it was all I knew how to do. I'm Rebecca Thorne. Most people call me Becca. Can you understand me? I understand you perfectly, Rebecca Thorne. My name is Kale, and I am deeply grateful for your compassion. Can you tell me where you're from? How badly are you hurt? I am from a star system you call Zeta Reticuli. My injuries are significant, but not fatal. My body heals more rapidly than yours. What I need most is rest, safety, and time. I nodded, processing this information with the same clinical detachment I used at work. Alien, from another star system, crashed ship hay, telepathic communication. Sure, why not? My life had already fallen apart. Might as well add first contact to the list. I can keep you safe, I heard myself say. No one comes here. No one knows you're here. Rest, heal. We'll figure out the rest later. Why are you helping me, Rebecca Thorne? The question hung in the air. I looked at this impossible being on my couch, and for the first time in 2 years, I felt something crack in the wall around my heart. Because, I said quietly, I couldn't save my son, but maybe I can save you. Rebecca Thorne had been a paramedic for 23 years in Asheville, North Carolina, known for her calm under pressure and her ability to perform miracles with limited resources in the back of a speeding ambulance. She had saved countless lives. But beneath the competent exterior, behind the professional mask she wore so well, Rebecca was drowning. Everything changed 2 years ago when Lucas, her only child, was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia at age 12. 12 years old. The same age Rebecca had been when she'd first felt called to medicine, when she'd first understood that helping people was her purpose. Lucas had inherited her curious nature, her compassion, her quick smile. He wanted to be a veterinarian. He collected rocks. He loved terrible jokes and made his mother laugh even on her worst days. The diagnosis came on a Tuesday. Rebecca remembered that detail with painful clarity. Tuesday, March 8th, 2022. Dr. Patterson's office. The fluorescent lights too bright. The medical charts spread across the desk like a death sentence written in clinical terminology. We'll fight this, Rebecca had promised Lucas, holding his hand. "We'll fight this together." And they did fight. 6 months of chemotherapy, radiation, clinical trials. Lucas was so brave, braver than any adult patient Rebecca had ever treated. He never complained. He made jokes about his bald-headed. He drew pictures for the nurses. He told his mother, over and over, that everything would be okay. Rebecca prayed. God, how she prayed. She'd been raised Southern Baptist in a small town outside Charlotte. Church every Sunday, Wednesday night Bible study, summer vacation Bible school. She'd believed with the simple, unquestioning faith of a child. Even as an adult, even as she saw terrible things in her work, she'd maintained that faith. Tested, certainly. Strained, absolutely. But never broken. Until Lucas. She prayed in the hospital chapel. She prayed in her car between shifts. She prayed beside Lucas's bed, watching his small chest rise and fall with labored breathing. She bargained with God. Take me instead. Take my health, my life, anything. Just save my son. Her husband, Michael, prayed too. Their whole church prayed. Prayer chains, healing services, anointing with oil. Hundreds of people, maybe thousands, sending prayers upward for one sick little boy. The silence from heaven was deafening. Lucas died on September 15th, 2022, at 6:47 a.m. Rebecca was holding his hand. His last words were, "Don't be sad, Mom. I'm not scared." But Rebecca was scared, terrified, because in that moment, watching her son's light fade, she felt nothing from above. No presence, no comfort, no divine hand reaching down to ease the transition. Just absence. The funeral was a blur. People said things like, "He's in a better place. God needed another angel. His suffering is over." Each platitude felt like a knife. Michael stood beside her, hollow-eyed, and she could feel the gulf opening between them even then. 3 months later, Michael moved out. He didn't blame her, not directly, but the implication was there in his silence, in the way he couldn't meet her eyes. If she'd prayed harder, believed stronger, had more faith, the evangelical doctrine they'd both been raised with had created a trap. If prayers weren't answered, it was because the prayer was somehow insufficient. Not enough faith, unconfessed sin, some deficiency in spiritual dedication. Michael couldn't say it out loud, but Rebecca heard it anyway. And the worst part? She believed it too. The divorce was finalized 6 months after Lucas's death. Rebecca moved to the cabin in Pisgah National Forest, as far from the life she'd known as she could get while still working at the hospital. She stopped going to church. She stopped praying mostly. Sometimes late at night, she'd start to form words like, "God, if you're there," but they always died in her throat. What was the point? At 42 years old, Rebecca Thorne had everything society said she should want: a successful career, a home, financial stability. But she felt completely hollow inside. The purpose that had driven her for decades, helping people, saving lives, felt meaningless now. She'd saved strangers countless times, but couldn't save the one person who mattered most. Friends stopped calling after she declined too many invitations. Family was distant, scattered. Michael had remarried, moved to Tennessee. Rebecca's parents had passed away years ago. She had colleagues, but not friends. Not anymore. The loneliness wasn't just physical. It was spiritual, existential. She felt cut off from something fundamental, some current of meaning that everyone else seemed to access naturally. She went through the motions: work, home, sleep, repeat. But she was just surviving, not living. Late at night, when sleep wouldn't come, Rebecca would lie in bed and stare at the ceiling, asking the same questions over and over. Why Lucas? Why her? What was the point of being good, of helping people, of praying, if God was silent when it mattered most? Had she wasted her life believing in something that didn't exist? Was there truly no one listening? No divine presence? No greater meaning to any of this? The anger was worse than the grief. She was furious at God, if he existed. Furious at the church for lying to her about how prayer worked. Furious at herself for being so naive, for believing that faith and good deeds would be rewarded. The universe, she'd concluded, was indifferent at best, cruel at worst. She'd followed all the rules, believed all the right things, done everything her religion and society said to do. But the promised peace, the connection to God, the sense that everything happened for a reason, none of it had materialized. Maybe the churches had been wrong. Maybe she'd been lied to her entire life. Maybe she was truly and terribly alone in an indifferent universe, and Lucas's death meant nothing more than random cellular mutation creating suffering and loss. Some nights, Rebecca would take out the photo album. Lucas at birth, red-faced and screaming. Lucas at 2, covered in spaghetti sauce. Lucas at 7, missing his 2 front teeth. Lucas at 11, holding the trophy from his science fair. The last photo, taken a week before he died, thin, bald, but smiling. She'd trace his face with her finger and whisper, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I couldn't save you." And the universe never answered back. Rebecca had stopped believing in God, in prayer, in any kind of divine plan. She'd become a functional atheist, going through the motions of living without expecting anything beyond the material world she could touch and measure and treat with medical instruments. Which is why the next thing that happened would shatter everything. Because on the night of September 23rd, 2024, 2 years and 8 days after Lucas's death, Rebecca Thorne would discover that the universe was far stranger, far more populated, and far more responsive than she'd ever imagined, and that the silence she'd interpreted as absence had actually been preparation for a revelation that would change not just her life, but her entire understanding of reality, consciousness, and the teacher she'd given up on. The teacher, named Jesus.
For 3 days, Kyle rested on Rebecca's couch. She'd set up a makeshift recovery area, blankets, pillows, her medical monitoring equipment. She checked his vitals every few hours. Using what worked, pulse oximeter surprisingly detected something, though the readings made no sense, and improvising where her equipment failed. Kyle's body healed with remarkable speed. The broken arm straightened itself within 24 hours. The chest trauma resolved. The wound sealed completely, leaving no scar. By the 3rd day, he was sitting up, moving carefully but without apparent pain. The telepathic communication had become easier, more natural. At first it had been jarring, hearing a voice directly in her mind, bypassing her ears entirely. But Rebecca adapted. In her line of work, you learned to adapt quickly. "How are you feeling?" she asked on the morning of the 4th day, bringing him water. He'd explained that he could drink water, though his body processed it differently than humans. "Much better, thanks to your care." Kyle's mental voice carried warmth, gratitude. "You are a skilled healer, Rebecca Thorne." "Just doing my job." She sat in the armchair across from him, coffee mug warming her hands. "Though I have to admit, this is outside my usual patient demographic. Yet you have shown no fear, no hostility. Why?" Rebecca considered the question. "Honestly, I think I'm too tired to be afraid. After Lucas, after my son died, I don't have room for fear anymore. Just emptiness." She hadn't meant to say that, but something about Kyle's presence made honesty feel natural, safe. I know about Lucas, Kyle said gently. I know about your prayers. I know about the silence you felt. Rebecca's hand tightened on her coffee mug. How could you possibly know that? Because I came here with purpose, Rebecca. Not just to your planet, but to you specifically. My crash was not entirely accidental. I was guided to this place, to this person, to someone who needed to hear what I have to share. Share what? Truth. About the one you call Jesus, about prayer, about healing, about why your son died and why your prayers seemed unanswered, about abilities within you that no one ever taught you to access. Rebecca felt something stir in her chest, anger maybe, or hope, or fear. She couldn't tell anymore. I don't want to hear about God or Jesus or any of it. That part of my life is over. Is it? Then why do you still pray late at night when you cannot sleep? She stared at him. I don't. You do. You begin to form the words, then stop. God, if you're there. You say it 2 or 3 times each week. You are angry at something you claim not to believe in. That is not indifference, Rebecca. That is a relationship in crisis. Tears surprised her, burning behind her eyes. He didn't answer. I begged him to save Lucas. I prayed every day, every hour. The whole church prayed, and he was silent. He was not silent, Kyle said, his mental voice infinitely gentle. You were praying in a language he could not respond to, not because he chose not to answer, but because the frequency of your prayer was not aligned with the frequency of manifestation. What does that even mean? It means, Kyle said, that almost everything your religions taught you about prayer is incomplete, not wrong necessarily, but missing crucial elements. And Jesus, the consciousness you were praying to, he tried to teach the complete method. But after his death, the teachings were altered, simplified, distorted by those who didn't fully understand them. Rebecca wiped her eyes roughly. So you're telling me it's my fault Lucas died? That I prayed wrong? No, I am telling you that death is not what you think it is, that your son is not gone, that consciousness survives the death of the body, that Lucas understands things now that you could not explain to him then, and that he wants you to know something. What? Rebecca whispered. He forgives you for the guilt you carry. He wants you to forgive yourself, and he wants you to learn what I am here to teach, so that you can help others in ways you could not help him. Rebecca sat in silence, tears streaming down her face. Part of her wanted to reject all of this. It was too convenient, too much like what she desperately wanted to hear. But another part, the part she'd been suppressing for 2 years, recognized something in Kyle's words. Not truth exactly, not yet, but possibility. If you're here to teach me something, teach me. But know this, I don't believe easily anymore. Show me proof, real, undeniable proof, not faith, not philosophy, evidence. Kyle's large eyes seemed to lighten with something that might have been approval. That, he said, is exactly what Jesus would want you to demand. He never asked for blind faith. He demonstrated truth and invited people to test it. That is what I will do. Starting now.
Over the next 3 days, KL taught Rebecca things that made her head spin.
They would sit in her living room, KL on the couch, Rebecca in her armchair, as he shared information telepathically, sometimes in words, sometimes in concepts that bypassed language entirely, appearing in her mind fully formed. For 2 years, you have been praying for understanding, for peace, for some sign that your son's death had meaning, KL began on the 4th evening. But you have been praying from a place of lack, loss, and desperation. That frequency attracts more lack, more loss. It is a law of consciousness as reliable as gravity. So I should just pretend to be happy when I'm grieving? Rebecca asked bitterly. No. Feel your grief fully. That is human and necessary. But when you pray, when you attempt to manifest change, you must shift frequency. You must feel as if what you desire is already true. This is what Jesus meant when he gave thanks before miracles manifested. He was not thanking for future possibility. He was feeling gratitude for present reality in another frequency. That makes no sense. It makes perfect sense once you understand what reality is. What you perceive as solid, fixed, unchangeable. It is actually frequency patterns in consciousness. Jesus understood this. He could shift his frequency at will and thereby shift physical reality. What you call miracles were applications of consciousness technology. Rebecca leaned forward. You're saying miracles are technology? Yes. Reproducible, teachable, based on principles, not supernatural intervention from an external God judging your worthiness. Jesus was not demonstrating what God can do. He was demonstrating what humans can do when they remember who they are. And who are we? Divine consciousness having temporary human experience. Fragments of the creative source exploring itself through limitation. The separation you feel from God is illusion. God is not external to you, Rebecca. God is the awareness that is aware through your eyes right now. She sat back, processing. If that's true, why don't the churches teach this? Because institutions built empires on incomplete truth. They transformed Jesus' teachings of empowerment into doctrines of dependence. An empowered person who understands they are divine does not need institutional mediation, does not need priests to access God, does not need buildings or rituals or tithes for salvation. You're saying they lied? I am saying they taught the best truth they had access to, but key elements were lost, deliberately obscured, or never understood by those who compiled your scriptures. Jesus spoke in parables because the full truth was dangerous to the power structures of his time. After his death, those parables were interpreted by people who did not have direct access to his consciousness. Interpretations became doctrine. Doctrine became dogma. And the revolutionary truth that you are divine, that you can heal and manifest and create, was buried beneath layers of external authority. Rebecca felt her worldview cracking. If this is true, if we're all divine, if prayer is just frequency manipulation, then why did Lucas die? Where was this divine power then? KL was silent for a long moment. When he spoke, his mental voice was infinitely gentle. Lucas's death was not punishment, not random, not meaningless. Before he incarnated, his consciousness chose this particular life experience, including its duration. He came to teach you, Rebecca, to break open your heart, to destroy your comfortable beliefs so that you could access deeper truth. He was 12 years old. He wanted to be a veterinarian. He didn't choose to die. The consciousness that is Lucas, that eternal awareness, chose this experience before taking form. The personality, the Lucas you knew, did not consciously choose death, but the higher consciousness that animates all incarnations chose this path for growth, both his and yours. That's cruel. It is evolution. Physical death is not ending. It is transition. Lucas is not gone. He simply no longer requires a body to continue his consciousness journey. He is aware right now in dimensions you cannot perceive from your current state. And he wants you to know he is proud of you. He understands what you could not tell him, and he is asking you to let go of your guilt. Tears were streaming down Rebecca's face. How can you know this? Because consciousness communicates across dimensions when you know how to listen. I am in contact with many awareness patterns, including the one you call Lucas. He sends you love. He always has. You were too consumed by grief to feel it. Rebecca sobbed, years of held pain finally breaking through. Kyle waited, patient, allowing the release. When she could finally speak again, her voice was raw. Even if any of this is true, and I'm not saying it is, what am I supposed to do with it? Learn, practice, test the principles I teach you. Jesus said, test the spirits. He meant do not believe blindly. Try the techniques. If they work, they work. If they do not, discard them. I will show you 5 demonstrations over the next days. Physical proof that consciousness affects matter, not faith, evidence. And if I still don't believe, then I return to my people having tried. But Rebecca, KL's eyes held hers with unexpected intensity. You are not the only one I came to help. You are the conduit. Learn these truths so you can teach others. That is why Lucas's death broke you open. That is why you can no longer accept comfortable lies. That is why I crashed near your home on the 2-year anniversary of his passing. Everything is connected. Nothing is coincidence. And the one you call Jesus is far more involved in your life than you ever imagined.
That night, Rebecca couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, mind racing. I'm having a breakdown. The stress, the grief, Lucas's death anniversary approaching. I've finally snapped. There's no alien on my couch. This is psychosis. Trauma-induced hallucination. I need to call Dr. Morrison, get back on those medications she prescribed. In the morning, she found Kyle exactly where she'd left him. You think you are hallucinating? He said before she could speak. How did you... She stopped. Right, telepathy. Convenient. Your mind is protecting itself from information that challenges your entire worldview. This is natural, healthy even. Humans need paradigms to function. When those paradigms are threatened, psychological defense mechanisms activate. You are not crazy, Rebecca. You are experiencing what every human experiences when confronted with truth that does not fit their programming. That's exactly what a hallucination would say. Yes, which is why I will provide physical proof you cannot rationalize away. By afternoon, she'd pulled out her old Bible, the one from college, margins filled with notes, passages highlighted. The Bible warns about false teachers in the last days, she said, finding the passage in 2 Corinthians. Satan appears as an angel of light. You're literally a light being appearing to me. How do I know you're not demonic deception? By their fruits you will know them, Kyle quoted back. Jesus said this. What fruits do I offer? I teach love, compassion, personal empowerment. I show you how to access your own divine power rather than making you dependent on me. I honor Jesus as an advanced teacher. If I were here to deceive you, I would teach fear, dependence, separation. I would demand worship. I would make you weaker, not stronger.
She flipped through pages. It says Jesus is the only way to God. Yes, and what did Jesus say about the way? He said, I am the way, meaning the path of love, consciousness, divine recognition. He did not say, worship my name. He said, follow my example. The way is not external religion. The way is internal transformation. That is what I am teaching you. She called her old pastor, didn't tell him about Kyle, just asked theological questions about healing, about consciousness, about whether we might be more divine than the church taught. Pastor Jim was kind but firm. The church has studied these things for 2,000 years, Becca. We have councils, scholars, tradition. I know you're hurting, but this new age thinking you're exploring, it's dangerous. It leads people away from Christ. After hanging up, she confronted Kyle. Who are you to contradict centuries of theology? I am someone who has actually met consciousness beings from Jesus' time, who has access to records your civilization lost or destroyed, who understands the mechanics of what Jesus taught because my people have been practicing these principles for millions of your years. The church built an empire on incomplete truth, Rebecca. They are not evil, they are simply limited. She looked at herself in the bathroom mirror that night. If I accept this, she whispered to her reflection, what does that make me? A heretic? A fool? Everything I believed, everything I taught Lucas, was it all wrong? When she returned to the living room, Kyle responded to her unspoken crisis. You taught Lucas the best truth you had access to. Now you have access to deeper truth. Growth is not betrayal. Evolution is not rejection of your past. You are adding to your understanding, not destroying it. Jesus is still Jesus. Love is still the answer. You are simply learning the mechanics beneath the poetry. Why me? She demanded the next morning. I'm nobody special. I'm a paramedic in the middle of nowhere. Why would cosmic beings choose me for this? Jesus chose fishermen, tax collectors, prostitutes, not because they were perfect, but because they were broken open. The wounded are humble. The desperate are receptive. The grieving are ready to hear truth. You are exactly who this message is for, Rebecca. Not because you are special above others, but because your suffering has prepared you. The realization hit her suddenly and devastatingly. If this is true, God, 23 years. I've been praying wrong, living wrong, believing wrong my entire adult life? How many patients died while I prayed ineffectively over them? How many people did I teach the wrong way to pray? Lucas died afraid he wasn't good enough for heaven because that's what I taught him to believe. She was crying now, great heaving sobs. I failed everyone. I failed him. Stop. Kyle's voice was firm. Guilt is frequency that keeps you trapped. You cannot change the past, but you can change the future. Every moment is new choice. Lucas does not blame you. He never did. He asks you to forgive yourself and move forward. This one came at 3 a.m. when defenses were lowest. Rebecca sat on the floor of Lucas's old bedroom, the one she'd kept exactly as he left it. His rock collection on the shelf, his drawings on the wall, his favorite stuffed elephant on the bed. He died terrified, she whispered into the darkness. His last week, he kept asking if he had been good enough, if God would forgive him for being angry about being sick. He was 12 years old and dying, and he thought he needed to earn heaven. I held his hand and told him he was saved because he had accepted Jesus. But he was still scared, still unsure. And if what you're saying is true, if he was already divine, already loved, already home, then I let him die afraid for no reason.
She pressed her face against the carpet, grief consuming her. "I failed him!" She felt Kyle's presence before she heard his voice. He had come to the doorway. "Rebecca." His mental voice was soft, holding a quality she had never heard before, like music, like light, like infinite compassion. "Lucas knows now. On the other side, many things become clear that were clouded in physical form. He understands now what you could not tell him then. And he has a message for you, one I am permitted to share." Rebecca looked up, tears streaming. He says, "Mom, I'm not afraid anymore. I never should have been. You didn't fail me. You loved me perfectly with the truth you had. Now learn the bigger truth and help other moms not be as scared as we were. That's how you honor me, not by staying broken, but by becoming whole." Something inside Rebecca's chest cracked open, not breaking, expanding. A space she thought was permanently closed began slowly to open toward possibility, toward hope.
"You want evidence," Kyle said the next morning. "I will provide evidence. 5 demonstrations. Physical, undeniable, testable. Then you decide." "Stand here," Kyle instructed. Rebecca stood in front of him, skeptical. He raised his hands, holding them several inches from her body, moving slowly from her head downward. His eyes were closed, face concentrated. After a full minute, he opened his eyes. "Your left shoulder, old injury from 7 years ago. You lifted a patient incorrectly. Rotator cuff damage that never fully healed. You feel pain when you raise your arm above horizontal, especially in cold weather." Rebecca's eyes widened. "Lucky guess. Lots of paramedics have shoulder injuries." "Your right knee. You tore your meniscus at age 16 playing soccer. Surgery repaired it, but left scar tissue. You feel clicking sensation when you climb stairs." "That's more specific." "Your uterus. Endometriosis since age 28. You manage it with medication, but still experience severe cramping monthly. 3 miscarriages before Lucas. The grief from those losses you never fully processed." Rebecca stepped back, hand to her mouth. "There's no way you could know that. I've never told anyone about the miscarriages, except Michael." "Your thyroid is slightly underactive. You take levothyroxine, 50 micrograms daily. Your pancreas shows early signs of insulin resistance. You should reduce sugar intake. Your heart is physically healthy, but carries emotional patterns from grief. These create literal electromagnetic disturbances that I can measure." "How?" "Every condition creates distinct energy signature. Physical illness, emotional trauma, chronic pain, all generate measurable frequencies. Jesus perceived these signatures instantly. This is how he knew what was wrong before people told him. He was reading energy patterns. And so can I." Rebecca sat down heavily. I need to think about this." The next day, Rebecca brought in a dying houseplant from her bedroom, a pothos that had been Lucas's. She'd forgotten to water it for months. Most leaves were brown, stem wilted. This was Lucas's plant. He loved taking care of it. After he died, I couldn't bear to water it. Stupid, I know. Not stupid. Grief takes many forms. May I try to heal it?" She nodded. Kyle placed his hands around the pot, not quite touching it. He closed his eyes. Rebecca watched, skeptical but hopeful. At first, nothing happened. Then, slowly, so slowly she thought she might be imagining it, one leaf began to straighten. The brown faded slightly. Another leaf moved, turning toward Kyle's hands like it was seeking the sun. Over 15 minutes, Rebecca watched the impossible happen.
brown leaves turned green. The wilted stem stiffened, straightened. New growth appeared at the tips, tiny bright green leaves that definitely hadn't been there before. When Kyle removed his hands, the plant looked healthy. Not perfectly, but transformed from dying to thriving. "What did you do?" Rebecca breathed. "I directed consciousness energy into the plant's energy field. All living things respond to intention combined with high-frequency emotion, love, compassion, healing intention. The plant's natural healing response was accelerated. This process normally takes weeks. I compressed it to minutes." Jesus did this with plants? With everything. He healed plants, animals, humans. The principle is identical across all life. Jesus had simply mastered the technique through practice and training, which means you can learn it too. Kyle had Rebecca bring a bowl of rice. Raw, white rice. She counted out exactly 100 grains into a small, clear bowl. "Watch," Kyle said. He held his hands over the bowl, concentrated. Rebecca watched the rice intently. At first, nothing. Then, movement. Not the grains shifting, new grains appearing. Slowly, one by one, materializing in the spaces between existing grains. Rebecca counted again when he finished. 243 grains. She couldn't find words. You created matter from nothing. Matter is not created from nothing. Matter is consciousness vibrating at specific frequency. When you understand the relationship between thought and form, molecular reorganization becomes possible. I am simply rearranging existing atomic particles into new configurations. This is what Jesus did with loaves and fishes. Not supernatural miracle, applied consciousness technology. This violates physics, thermodynamics, conservation of mass and energy. It expands physics. Your science understands maybe 3% of how reality operates. There are laws beneath the laws you know. Jesus understood those deeper principles. "Now you try," Kyle said. Rebecca looked at the paper cut on her finger. Small, but it stung. "Try what?" "Heal it yourself, using the same principles I have demonstrated." I can't do what you do." "You can. You simply have not been taught. Follow my instruction exactly. First, understand that love is not emotion. Love is frequency, the highest, most coherent energy in existence. When Jesus healed, he generated this frequency and directed it. You will do the same." Kyle guided her through the process, deep breathing to calm her nervous system, visualization of golden light. Most importantly, feeling genuine compassion for her own pain. Focus on the cut. See it already healed. Feel gratitude for perfect skin. Generate warmth in your hands. That is love frequency manifesting as energy. Rebecca followed instructions, feeling slightly foolish. But as she focused, something shifted. A warmth built in her palm, a tingling sensation. She held her hand over the cut, concentrated on the feeling of wholeness, completion, perfect healing. 10 minutes passed. The warmth intensified. Then gradually, the stinging sensation faded. The cut closed, not completely, but noticeably. What should have taken 2 days happened in minutes. Rebecca stared at her finger, heart pounding. "I did that. I actually healed myself." You activated principles Jesus taught. Every human can access this. He came to demonstrate that you do not need external saviors when you understand you are the healing force incarnate. "One more test," Rebecca said. "My neighbor, Mrs. Patterson. She's 83, severe arthritis in both hands, can barely open jars. I see her struggle every day." She showed Kyle a photo on her phone. I will send healing energy across the distance. It works because consciousness is not limited by physical proximity. Intention transcends space. Coyle held the phone, gazing at Mrs. Patterson's photo. His eyes closed. He remained motionless for 20 minutes while Rebecca watched, part skeptical, part hopeful. The next morning, Rebecca was taking out her trash when Mrs. Patterson called out from her porch. "Becca, the strangest thing! My hands! I woke up and the pain is gone, completely gone. For the first time in 12 years, I can open jars again. I can hold my grandchildren's hands without wincing. It's a miracle." When did this happen? Last night, around 8 o'clock, I was sitting in my chair and suddenly my hands got warm, like someone was holding them. And when I woke up this morning, no pain. 8 o'clock, exactly when Coyle had been concentrating. Rebecca returned to her cabin, hands shaking. That was real. You healed her from inside my house across distance. That was real. Jesus sent healing across distances constantly, to the centurion's servant, to others who were miles away. Physical proximity is not required when working with consciousness energy. Intention transcends space. This is what he meant when he said, "Your faith has healed you." Not faith in external God, but activation of internal divine power through focused intention. Rebecca sat down, all her carefully constructed skepticism crumbling. I can't deny this anymore. Every rational explanation is exhausted. This is real. These abilities are real, and if they're real, then everything you've told me about Jesus, about prayer, about human potential is true. Not belief, not faith, truth. Testable, reproducible, accessible to anyone willing to learn.
That evening, as October rain pattered against the windows, Cale shared the deeper truths. Jesus of Nazareth, he began, was not what your religions teach. He was far more extraordinary and far more human than your doctrines allow. Rebecca curled up in her armchair, mug of tea warming her hands, ready to listen. The consciousness you called Jesus had evolved far beyond the need for physical experience. He was what we call an ascended master, a being who had completed multiple evolution cycles across different worlds, different dimensions. He chose to descend from higher existence states specifically to help humanity awaken. So he was an alien? He was consciousness that transcended planetary identity. Starseed is your term, an advanced soul from higher dimensions who voluntarily incarnates into limited form to serve as catalyst for collective evolution. He was not the only one. Throughout your history, many such beings have incarnated. Buddha, Krishna, others you do not remember. But Jesus' mission was particularly ambitious. Why? Because he came at a pivotal moment. Humanity was ready for a frequency upgrade, but lacked the bridge between animal consciousness and divine consciousness. Jesus volunteered to be that bridge, to incarnate fully human, experiencing pain, doubt, temptation, all of it, while maintaining connection to his higher consciousness. This made him perfect teacher, fully divine, fully human, not unique exception, but prototype of what every human can become. Jesus was never alone in his mission. He maintained constant telepathic communication with what you might call a cosmic council, an assembly of evolved consciousness from multiple civilizations coordinating spiritual assistance for developing planets like yours. The angels in the Bible? Some of them, many of what your scriptures call angels, were actually consciousness beings from advanced civilizations. Not all. Some were pure light-form intelligences, but many were physical beings like me, operating from spacecraft, providing guidance and protection for Jesus throughout his mission. His 40 days in the wilderness? Intensive training and strategy sessions. He was communicating with his support team, receiving downloads of information, calibrating his consciousness to the frequency he would need to teach effectively. What your Bible calls temptation by Satan was actually his final test. Could he maintain his mission integrity under psychological pressure? He passed. And the resurrection? A planned demonstration. Jesus did not die the way humans typically die. He consciously withdrew from his body, maintaining a connection cord that allowed rapid re-entry. His team preserved the body using technology you would call stasis. After 3 days, he reintegrated consciousness with physical form. The resurrection was proof that consciousness survives body death, and more, that those who understand the technology can return at will. Rebecca's mind reeled. Why don't the Bible say this? Because those who witnessed did not fully understand what they were seeing. They described it in the only language they had, religious miracle. And later editors, working from second-hand accounts, interpreted everything through their existing paradigms. The cosmic support structure was simplified into angels. The consciousness technology was explained as divine power. The truth was not destroyed, just heavily filtered through limited understanding. When Jesus taught love one another, he was providing precise technical instruction for activating the most powerful force in the universe. Love is not emotion, Rebecca. Love is fundamental energetic frequency maintaining all creation. Explain that. At the quantum level, all matter is vibrating energy. Different vibration rates create different forms: rock, water, flesh, thought. Love frequency is the highest, most coherent vibration. It is literally the organizing principle of the cosmos. When you operate from this frequency, you align with the creative force of reality itself. Matter responds to your intention because matter is consciousness at a slower vibration rate. So when Jesus healed, he generated love frequency so intensely that biological systems entrained to his vibration. Disease is low-frequency pattern, pain, inflammation, cellular chaos. Health is high-frequency pattern, harmony, regeneration, optimal function. Jesus raised the frequency field around sick people, and their bodies naturally reorganized toward health. Not supernatural. Physics you have not yet discovered. Can I do that? Yes, you already did with your paper cut. On larger scale requires practice, but the principle is identical. Jesus said, "You will do greater works than I have done." He meant it literally. As collective human consciousness evolves, abilities he demonstrated alone will become commonplace. That is the next phase of human evolution. Conscious manifestation through love frequency.
You have been praying wrong your entire life. Not wrong as in morally bad, wrong as in technically incorrect. Prayer based on supplication reinforces separation and powerlessness. True prayer is conscious manifestation. Show me the right way. First, feel as if you already have what you desire. Do not ask for health. Feel gratitude for perfect health as if you already possess it. Your body does not know the difference between actual experience and vividly imagined experience. The feeling generates frequency that begins attracting matching physical reality. Second, elevate emotional frequency. Desperation attracts more desperation. Gratitude attracts more to be grateful for. Emotion is the power source. Thought is the direction. Together, they create manifestation momentum. Third, release attachment to how your desire manifests. Do not dictate method. Universe has infinite pathways you cannot imagine. Set clear intention, generate elevated emotion, then trust. Fourth,
Maintain frequency consistency. 1 minute of prayer followed by 23 hours of worry cancels manifestation. This is why Jesus emphasized faith, not blind belief, but consistent frequency maintenance even before physical manifestation appears. That's why my prayers for Lucas didn't work. Your prayers were, "Please God, heal Lucas. Please, please, I beg you." Every word reinforced lack. Please implies you don't have. Beg implies you're powerless. God as external implies separation. You were generating fear frequency while asking for healing frequency. They cannot coexist.
How should I have prayed?
Thank you for Lucas's perfect health. Thank you for his body's natural healing ability. Thank you for the vitality flowing through him. Present tense, gratitude, as if already true. This generates frequency matching what you desire. Physical reality then rearranges to match consciousness. Rebecca felt tears on her cheeks. But he still died, because his higher consciousness had already chosen that path before incarnating, not as punishment, as experience his soul needed for evolution. Your prayer could not override his soul's pre-incarnation agreement, but it could ease his transition, which it did. He felt your love every moment. That love sustained him. It sustains him still. After Jesus' death, those who understood his true teachings were systematically suppressed. Church leadership transformed empowerment philosophy into control mechanism, not through evil conspiracy, but through fear-based thinking. What changed? Original teaching, the kingdom of God is within you. Church doctrine, the kingdom is in distant heaven you reach after death through correct belief and behavior. Original teaching, you will do greater works than I have done. Church doctrine, only Jesus could do miracles because he was uniquely divine. Original teaching, I and the Father are one, and you are too. Church doctrine, Jesus is uniquely divine. You are fallen sinner, needing external salvation. Original teaching, your faith heals you, meaning your activated consciousness power. Church doctrine, God heals if you're worthy and if it's his will. Why would they change it? People who understand their own power do not need intermediaries, do not pay tithes for salvation, do not submit to religious authority, do not depend on priests for God access. The church built an empire on keeping humanity ignorant of their own divine nature. Not malicious, just fear that people were not ready for full truth, that they needed control for their own good. The road to spiritual imprisonment is paved with good intentions. You are living in the era Jesus anticipated when he said, I will return. His return is not him coming from the sky to rescue believers. His return is the collective awakening of Christ consciousness within humanity. You are his second coming, Rebecca, not because you are Jesus, but because you are finally becoming what Jesus came to show you that you are. Why now? Critical mass threshold approaching. When sufficient number of humans awaken to their divine nature, resonance effect occurs. Awakened consciousness is contagious. One person awakening makes it easier for next, who makes it easier for next. You are early adopter, seed that sprouted before general flowering. Your function is to demonstrate by living example that awakened consciousness produces transformed life. Others will notice, they will ask, you will teach, not through preaching, but through being. And if humanity doesn't reach this threshold, then the opportunity is lost for this cycle, and the process must restart in a future era. But I do not think you will fail. Too many are waking up. Too much is in motion. Jesus planted seeds 2,000 years ago. Those seeds are germinating now. The flowering is beginning. You are part of that flowering, Rebecca Thorne.
Rebecca sat in silence, mind expanding to hold concepts that would have seemed insane a week ago. But after the demonstrations, after feeling healing energy in her own hands, after watching Mrs. Patterson's arthritis vanish. I believe you, she whispered. I don't understand it all, but I believe you. Good, because tomorrow I must leave. My ship is repaired. My mission here is complete. Already? You no longer need me. You have direct connection to same consciousness that guided Jesus. Trust your inner knowing. Live these truths. Your transformation will inspire others. That is your mission, not to preach, but to embody. I'm not ready. You are more ready than you know. But before I leave, there is one more thing you need to know. You will receive a confirmation soon, very soon, because you still have doubt, not doubt in me, doubt in yourself, doubt that you are worthy of this knowledge, doubt that this could really be true. The universe will answer that doubt in a way you cannot question.
Cale left on the night of October 3rd. Rebecca stood in her backyard, watching the small silver craft rise silently into the night sky. It hovered for a moment, a final farewell, then shot upward, disappearing among the stars. She felt hollow. Not the same terrible emptiness she'd felt since Lucas died, but the natural emptiness after something profound ends. Like finishing a life-changing book, like waking from a transformative dream. "What do I do now?" she whispered to the night sky. No answer came. She was alone again. The next 7 days were difficult. Rebecca went to work, treated patients, came home. But everything felt different. The world looked the same, but she was perceiving layers she'd never noticed before. Energy fields around people, faint but there. Emotional frequencies she could sense without being told. Knowledge that arrived in her mind without conscious thought. She practiced the techniques Cale had taught: meditation, frequency work, healing visualizations. Some days it felt real, powerful. Other days it felt like pretending. The doubt crept back in. Lying in bed at night, was any of that real? Did I hallucinate an entire alien encounter because I was having a grief-induced psychotic break? Am I losing my mind? She still had the demonstrations to remind her. The healed plant still thriving on her windowsill. Mrs. Patterson's arthritis still gone. Her own paper cut that had healed impossibly fast. But human minds are excellent at rationalization. The plant wasn't as dead as I thought. Mrs. Patterson's arthritis went into natural remission. The cut was never that deep. By the 7th day, Rebecca's faith was wavering badly. She stood in front of Lucas's photograph that night. Same photo she'd looked at every evening. Him at 11, gap-toothed smile, holding his science fair trophy. "Lucas, if any of what Cale said was true, if you can hear me, I need to know. I need a sign. Something. Anything, because I want to believe. I want to think death isn't the end, that you're okay, that I didn't fail you. But I don't know what's real anymore." She pressed her hand against the photo frame. "I miss you so much, and I'm so tired of not knowing if you're really gone or if you're somewhere out there, aware, whole. Please, if you can hear me, show me something." Nothing happened. She went to bed feeling foolish and more alone than ever. Rebecca woke suddenly, completely. Not the gradual surfacing from sleep, not the groggy half-awareness. Instantly, totally awake, as if someone had flipped a switch in her consciousness. The air had weight to it, density, like the moment before lightning strikes. And then, light. Not from any source she could identify. Not the lamp, not the window. The light was simply there, filling the room, but not like electric light or sunlight. Gold. Pure, warm, living gold. Rebecca sat up, heart hammering. The light coalesced,
took form. Not all at once, gradually, like watching a photograph develop. A figure standing at the foot of her bed. Human. Male. But the proportions were somehow more than human. Taller, more symmetrical, radiating something that her cells vibrated with recognition before her mind could process what she was seeing. The face was specific and universal. Features she couldn't quite focus on because they seemed to shift slightly, as if every ethnicity and no ethnicity simultaneously. Long hair, simple robe, but these details were secondary to the overwhelming presence. This was not Kale. Kale had been gentle, wise, compassionate. This presence was all that and more. Ancient, infinite, and somehow intimately, impossibly familiar. Rebecca knew who this was. She knew in her bones, in her blood, in the part of her that had prayed to him since childhood, even when she'd stopped believing he was listening. "Jesus," she breathed.
The figure smiled, and in that smile was every sunrise, every moment of grace, every instance of pure love she'd ever witnessed. When he spoke, it was not like Kael's telepathy. This was different. Simultaneously, in her mind and in the air, a voice that was sound and light and feeling combined. Rebecca. Her name from his lips unmade her. She couldn't breathe, couldn't move. Tears streamed down her face without her noticing. "Lord," she managed, "is it really you? The being that was here? Kael? Was he telling the truth?" "Kael is one of many who serve the light. What you were taught is true. I work with helpers across all creation. Some you call angels, some you call extraterrestrials. All are consciousness beings assisting in the great awakening. But the churches, they never said, the churches teach what they understand. But I came to show you more than institutions can contain. Rebecca, hear me clearly. Kael taught you correctly. Love is the technology. You are divine. The kingdom is within you. Everything he demonstrated, everything he revealed about prayer and healing and human potential, this is what I came to teach." She was sobbing now. "I stopped believing in you. After Lucas died, I thought you weren't real. I thought I'd wasted my life praying to nothing." "I know. I felt every prayer, Rebecca, every tear, every moment you cried out in the darkness. I was never absent. But I could not answer in the way you expected because you were asking in a language that creates more lack. I needed to teach you a new language. That is why I sent Kael." "Why now? Why me?" "Because you were ready. Because your heart was broken open by love for your son. Because the questions you were asking, why doesn't prayer work? Why did God abandon me? Is there more to spirituality than I was taught? These are the questions that create doorways. You were seeking truth, so truth was provided." "Lucas," her voice broke. "Is he... Did I fail him?" The figure moved closer, not walking, simply being nearer. He sat on the edge of her bed, and the gesture was so human, so tender, that Rebecca's breath caught. "Your son is here, not in body, but in consciousness. Do you want to hear his message?"
She nodded, unable to speak. Jesus closed his eyes. When he opened them, something had shifted. The energy in the room changed, and when he spoke again, the voice. "Mom!" It was Lucas's voice, coming through Jesus. Impossible. Real. "Mom, I'm not afraid anymore. I never should have been. You didn't fail me. You loved me perfectly with the truth you had. I understand everything now. Death wasn't the end. It was a doorway. And on this side, everything makes sense. The pain, the fear, the questions, they're all answered here. I want you to know I'm proud of you. I'm watching you learn these new truths, and I'm asking you, begging you, don't stay broken because of me. Don't let guilt over how I died prevent you from living fully. Honor me by becoming whole, by teaching others what you're learning, by showing people that love is stronger than death. That's how you remember me, not by staying sad, by becoming the healer you were always meant to be." The voice shifted back, Jesus' presence returning fully. "Your son has spoken. Will you honor his request?" Rebecca could barely see through tears. "Yes, God, yes, I will. I'll learn, I'll teach, I'll do whatever you ask. Just, please. Is all of this real? Am I really talking to you? How do I know I'm not imagining this because I want it so badly?"
Jesus reached out, and he touched her hand. The sensation was like lightning made of pure love. Every cell in her body ignited. She felt wholeness, completion, connection to everything that is. The frequency Kyle had described, but infinitely magnified. She was herself, and also part of something vast, ancient, eternal. She was Rebecca Thorne, 42-year-old paramedic, and simultaneously, she was divine consciousness experiencing itself through this particular form. She felt Lucas, not believed, felt. His presence, his love, his joy. He was not gone. He was more, expanded, free, whole. She felt Jesus, not as distant deity, but as awakened human, elder brother, cosmic friend. Same source consciousness she carried, just fully activated. She felt God, not as external judge, but as the awareness that was aware through her eyes, the I am that had always been I amming through her. The touch broke. The light began to fade. You asked for confirmation. This is your confirmation. Kyle spoke truth. I confirm it. You are divine. You have power beyond what churches taught. Love is the technology. Prayer works when you understand the mechanics. Jesus is real, but not in the limited way doctrine taught. I did not come to create a religion of dependency. I came to demonstrate what every human can become. When I said, "The kingdom of God is within you," I meant it literally. When I said, "You will do greater works than I have done," I was stating fact. You are not powerless sinner waiting for external salvation. You are divine consciousness having temporary human experience. And the abilities I demonstrated, healing, manifestation, transformation, these are your birthright. Not because you are special, because you are human. And being human means possessing divine potential. Most people never activate. Will you activate yours? Yes, Rebecca whispered.
Yes, I will. Good. Then my appearance here is complete. You will not see me in this form again, not because I abandon you, but because you no longer need external validation. You have direct connection now. Trust it. Use it. Teach it. Go and do what I did. Heal the sick. Raise the dead, meaning awaken those who are spiritually dead. Cleanse the lepers, meaning help people release shame and guilt. Cast out demons, meaning clear limiting beliefs. You are my hands now. You are my voice. You are my second coming, not because you are me, but because you are finally remembering who you are. The light grew brighter, more intense until Rebecca had to close her eyes. When she opened them, the room was dark again. Normal. Silent. Empty. But she was not empty. For the first time in 2 years, Rebecca Thorne felt full, complete, connected, whole, alive.
Rebecca called in sick the next morning, not because she was ill, because she needed time to process what had happened. KL had taught her. Jesus had confirmed it. She could no longer doubt. Within days, everything shifted. The chronic shoulder pain that had plagued her for 7 years vanished overnight. She woke up pain-free, full range of motion restored. The crushing grief over Lucas transformed. Not gone, but softer. She missed him, would always miss him, but the terror that he was gone forever had dissolved. He was aware. He was whole, and somehow she could feel that now. When Rebecca returned to the ambulance, she was different. She responded to a cardiac arrest. 67-year-old man, no pulse, for 6 minutes. While doing compressions, she channeled love frequency through her hands, just as KL had taught. The man's heart restarted on the second shock. In the ER, the doctor looked at her strangely. "Whatever you did out there, his vitals are better than they should be." A week later, she treated a teenage girl having a severe asthma attack. While administering treatment, Rebecca placed her hand on the girl's back and focused healing intention. The attack resolved faster than normal. The mother cried with relief. Her partner Jake pulled her aside. "Becca, something's different. Last month you were barely here. Now you're on fire. What changed?" She smiled. "I remembered who I am." Mrs. Patterson knocked on her door with cookies. "My arthritis hasn't hurt in 3 weeks. I'm knitting again. Did you pray for me?" She smiled. "I did, but you should start praying for yourself too. Turns out we're more powerful than anyone told us." That evening, she taught her first student, just Mrs. Patterson, learning about love frequency, about gratitude instead of begging, about feeling healing as already present. Within weeks, Rebecca was hosting small gatherings, 6 to 8 people, mostly older women from the neighborhood, learning to pray differently. "This isn't blasphemy," she would tell them. "This is what Jesus actually taught. You are not powerless. You never were." Michael called 2 months later. Her ex-husband. They hadn't spoken in 8 months. "I don't know how to explain this, but something heavy lifted, and I kept thinking I needed to apologize for blaming you, for leaving when you needed me most." "I forgive you," Rebecca said simply. "We were both broken." They talked for an hour, not getting back together, but finally at peace.
Rebecca sat in Lucas's old room one evening, looking at his belongings. I get it now. Why you came. Why you left when you did. You broke me open so I could be filled with something bigger. She felt his presence, warm, approving. Every person I help awaken is a memorial to you. Thank you for being my son. Thank you for still being with me. The warmth intensified. He was smiling.
So now you've heard my story. I met an alien who taught me about Jesus. Then Jesus himself appeared and confirmed every word. Two separate beings, one identical message. You are more powerful than you were taught. I know this sounds impossible. If you'd told me this 3 months ago, I would have walked away. But here's what I know with absolute certainty. Jesus works with cosmic beings. The Bible's angels, we're learning what they really were. And Jesus himself confirmed, yes, humans are divine. Yes, you have creative power. Yes, love is actual technology. Yes, miracles are accessible to all. Yes, the churches got it incomplete. This isn't blasphemy. This is completion of what Jesus came to teach. If you've felt that traditional religion isn't enough, if you've sensed there's more to Jesus than churches teach, if you've prayed without answers, maybe you were waiting for this message. What will you do with this truth? You can close this video and return to comfortable beliefs. Or you can start experimenting, testing these principles, treating prayer as manifestation technology, channeling love frequency consciously. You can awaken to your divine nature. Share in the comments. Have you experienced moments where thoughts created reality? Felt connected to something greater? Witnessed unexplainable healing? Had prayers answered too perfectly to be coincidence? Your story might help someone else awaken. Subscribe to Stories of Light for more testimonies that challenge everything you thought you knew. Jesus' return is not him coming from the sky. Jesus' return is you awakening to Christ consciousness within. You are the second coming, not because you're Jesus, but because you're finally becoming who Jesus showed you that you are.